welcome everyone. We are here with Deva Premal and Miten. Did I get that correct? I don't have the British accent, but
Oh, that's Sanskrit word. Miten. It means friend of God. It's from Sanskrit.
beautiful, which is so much a big integral part of your life with both of your lives.
Yeah, that's really true.
Well, I'm going to give, before we get started, the viewers and listeners just a brief overview on you, your more professional side, for those who are tuning in for the first time. You call yourselves modern nomads on a mission to share the medicine of Sanskrit mantras with humanity, which we love and really is what brought us to your work so many years ago. And you've been on the cutting edge of Sanskrit chanting for 25 years after you both met at an Indian ashram in 1990, which is such a romantic story. It really is. You've been Grammy nominated. You've been endorsed by celebrities like Cher, Tony Robbins, who I know, by the way, great guy, and the Dalai Lama, quite a diverse group. You've been included in movie soundtracks and have had over 1.5 million album sales. And your music is used in meditation, yoga, stress management, massage, and for conscious sleep. You also have a big community, right? And you do retreats a couple of times a year, including Costa Rica, where you are right now.
Just because of, I think that's what happened all over the world. Our online community became much more apparent and active and cohesive during this time, because that's the only way we could meet. So in these last 2.5 years that we've been here in Costa Rica, we have somehow become aware of that community and then found a home for it by creating an app. So we have our own app where we meet weekly for meditations, and all kinds of things happen in that app. I'd love to talk more about it, but it's the time. I think I'm interrupting your introduction, but anyway, it's just.
I told you, when Deva starts, you can't stop.
That's okay. That's okay. We'd love to hear about it.
I just find it so amazing and surprising in a way that an online community can really work, and you can really feel the sense of community and the connection. And I find myself getting up in the morning and I can feel the community. It's a kind of like I can feel as if we are always in a retreat together or in an ashram together. We call it our ashram. We call it our online ashram.
That's brilliant.
And it's like a flowering, because we have so many beautiful, inspired people that are also giving us suggestions or seeing things, and we think of ways to connect and to be together. And so now there's this, feels like this tree that has grown with all these different aspects of sharing.
That's right. It's grown out of participation and a sense that we don't have to be isolated, because many people were isolated in that lockdown and badly in need of connection. And so we just watched as many people joined us. We would just sit in our garden and put up this camera and say, "Hey guys, we'll play for an hour, meditate together." And it just, like Deva said, it just grew into this many thousands of people joining. And we did it for 77 days non-stop, every day at the same time for 77 days. And now we just meet together live every week, Deva and I and the community. And people, they share everything. We share recipes, even vegan recipes, and meditations, and our stories of how we got to where we are. It's a very beautiful app. It's a beautiful family feeling that just has grown through this lockdown, through this tragedy, really, that we've all come together.
Yeah.
Many people. And like David says, you can feel when we chant together, even though we don't hear each other, we know we're all meditating at the same time. And that creates a certain energetic pulse. that is tangible, it's tangible, and it's a miracle. So now we're going out on the road. So now, after two years sitting in the jungle and being beach bums, we're going to be going all the way through Europe. We have 15 concerts in 30 days, all the way from Poland to Amsterdam, and everywhere in between. So we're on the move again, which is it's going to be interesting, I think, because we've had 2 years not going anywhere, and for the last 30 years we've always traveled. We've never had a base. For 30 years we've always just been moving, and so this has been a total change of direction, really, for us both, to be living together under the roof and just enjoying the nature and the songs and the trees and the birds and creating music. We've made 2 albums down here. We've been very creative, done some movies, little movie clips and things. It's beautiful. It's been great.
That's what going inward does, right? And I think, if anything, what COVID did is it allowed us to connect with more people from around the world, right? Because the apps that we can create, which you've done, and we'll certainly let people know about your app, but also just the Zoom screen, like suddenly you can be connected to all of these people in an instant. So would you chant when that, and so everything else was quiet, you would chant and then they would join in, but keeping their microphones off, obviously?
Actually, you know what? We just always love to sing together. Also in our concerts and we don't usually do the call and response style. It hasn't really been coming naturally to us. For us, it's really a communal affair. So we sing and then everybody sings in their homes. And I think that's also been a blessing in a way, because people have had to become really comfortable with their own voices. And that's, if we can become comfortable with our singing voice, where we are so naked and so vulnerable, that's a huge gift, because usually when you come to Kirtan, you hear yourself in a big choir and you cannot drown in it and you swim in it. But now suddenly, just like this lockdown for everybody's made us face ourselves in different and new and challenging ways. And you are hearing me and Deva, and the music, you're hearing the music. So I love to picture, like all these little lights going on all over the world as people are singing the same mantra at the same time, and it's just amazing. Mm-hmm. So but we have to go out, we want to go out again, but these concerts they're rolled over from 2019, when it all got cancelled. So we have to honor these concerts, and it just felt like the right time to go back out and meet everybody again, and somehow connect in that amazing connection of many, many, many people all together, all breathing together, chanting together, laughing together, crying together. It's just it's like the tribes we reunite, on these concert nights. It's very beautiful.
And I think people are ready. I think people are ready to go out again. I do think it was a blessing that we all got to go inward, and it was with our community too. We never thought it would translate into this online world, and it did very well. But we're not able to hug each other, right? And so I think people are ready, and they're going to be excited to embrace you back in the physical flesh, right? I mean, it's really powerful.
Have you seen, now that, it's been 2.5 years and you've been online for 2.5 years, have you seen your community grow worldwide as a result of doing everything online and through Zoom?
Yeah, it's, with the numbers of all these Facebooks and stuff, you don't really know what they mean. They're you know, how engaged people are, how long do they really stay when it's all these views that you find. But we now have actually really really strong connections, and I think that's actually more valuable. Maybe, I don't know if it's more in numbers. I think it's maybe shifted, you know, maybe people who were not ever coming to any concerts are now online, and people who always come to concerts haven't really been online, because that's really what they. So but the connection is really deep, and it's strong, and it's solid, and it's not you know, it's really not about entertainment, you know. So the people who come, they know they're coming there for meditation and for going in, and it's and that's really precious, you know, that it's not a quick kind of, I'll check them out or something, but it's people really ready to be there every Saturday and meditate together, you know. It's that's really precious, and I think that's much more nourishing. But I'm sure people have. There's many people who have not been to concerts in the community who are now really excited to come.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. That's really, that's going to be great.
I'd love to spend just a few minutes talking about, for those who don't know your story, right? And it's interesting, Deva, that you have Cher as someone who has endorsed your work, because, you know, as you know, I mean, I grew up with Cher, and there was always this fear of her, even though she's got this incredible voice, she was on the sidelines, right, with Sonny for so many years. And it took a while before she got her voice and had the confidence as a woman to speak up. And your story is kind of similar, right? But it was a mantra that unlocked you and allowed you to step into your light. Do you want to tell people about that?
Sonny and Cher. I got you, babe.
I know. I loved that. We used to go to sleep to that. I remember. We're all showing our ages.
Yeah. I think you talk about it.
That story is very interesting. I can tell you something about it, and then she will, I'm sure she'll put me right. But her story is amazing, because she was studying in the ashram, and she was studying body work. Deva was a healer with her hands, and that's how we met. And she eventually got into music, because I was a musician in the ashram, and we used to sing together, Deva and I, and it just became this deep friendship. And Deva was very shy, but she knew she could sing. Her parents were classical. Her mother was a classical musician. She played viola da gamba, you know, and this medieval music. And Deva had been brought up with violin lessons, and so she was musically pretty good straight away. But she hadn't really done anything with it until being in the ashram. And the music was very open. So we went to many meditation centers playing, and Deva was much just learning. It was like apprenticeship of sharing music and sharing her voice and sharing the possibility that we could have 30 people in a room and have them all singing and being blissful. So a weekend of very simple meditation, but very profound. And it was that simple. And out of that, one day Deva came to me, and she said, look, I've just heard this mantra that I don't know what it's called. And it was the Gayatri Mantra, which we didn't know the names. And then she began to sing this Gayatri Mantra, and immediately there was a sense of I don't know how to explain it, but it was so natural and so without any self-consciousness, without any sense of ego. Deva has never thought of herself as a singer. That's how amazingly egoless she is. And so she started to sing the Gayatri Mantra. And you know what? Just today, we've just heard, and it's kind of interesting. I'm just going to jump all the way now, 32 years later. we just Deva and India Ari have just done a mantra together, and it's a Tibetan mantra, and it's really very beautiful. And just today we heard that it's all been completed and it's going to be coming out. And it's just Deva and India Ari chanting this mantra together, and it's so beautiful and it's so special. And it came, you know, and I go all the way back to hearing Deva chant the Gayatri for the first time. And my part in it was I would have been a rock musician. I knew how to accompany her. I knew how to help her. I knew how to encourage her. And so we were both destined through meeting in this ashram, you know, we were destined to be together, and so far so good, I guess.
32 years later, is that it?
Yeah.
That's amazing. But it seemed like, I mean, I think I remember reading somewhere your parents sang to you, right? When you were.
Yeah, so that's the thing that I grew up with the mantras, especially the Gayatri mantra. And that I basically didn't sing or chant them after about 10 years old, when I found Osho as my guru, and I wanted to get away from my parents', you know, influence, I guess, or find my own way, as we need to do. So yes, the Gayatri mantra was in my life, and it was my song, you know, it was my natural expression, really. And also Miten, he had his, because he talked about apprenticeship, he had his apprenticeship by being a musician in the 60s, 70s, 60s.
60s.
Kind of like
So long ago.
And
No, I'm proud of that. My first record was made half a century ago. So that's true.
yeah, so he had and he was going on his big tours, opening for big acts like, you know, Fleetwood Mac or Ry Cooder, Lou Reed or something, and to hold space for so many people and be, you know, and so that was like his preparation for then coming to India, discovering meditation, and then finding a way to play music that's nothing to do with entertainment, you know, where people don't even look at you while you play. They either have their eyes closed, or they in Pune they all turned away from us to look at the podium where Osho would come. Mm. So this was our apprenticeship to then now go and share this in theaters or in concert halls, you know, and make them into temples and meditation rooms, you know, and it really works. Usually our biggest concerts are in Russia and in Moscow. Usually we had like 6,000 people, and to feel that
every year
pin drop silence that so many people can enter without you know, nobody's telling them to, you know, like in the beginning people still in the silences, maybe they are fidgety, or maybe they cough or something, you know, and then towards the end of the concert it's all just silence and relaxation, and this is so, it's just so beautiful. That alone is enough to want to go out and play live, because that's just so nourishing when so many people can be ready to go in there together, you know. That's beyond entertainment.
Why do you think Russia is your biggest concert? That's curious.
I don't
know. They're passionate people out there, you know, and I think they just turned on to it, you know, and they put us on television, and we go every year, and then they started to put us in this rock arena kind of place that held 6,000 people. And sure enough, every year there were 6,000 people, like Dave was saying. We would be chanting, and it must have been a historical moment when people gathered in Moscow to chant Sanskrit mantras together. that like many people chanting Sanskrit mantras together in Moscow, in St. Petersburg, in Vienna, in Krakow, wherever we go, there's this connection of, it's just real. It's not "I love you, baby," or it's healing sound formulas. We're not messing around with. We don't have the time. We just feel like this is what has to be done, and we love to do it. And if we die doing it, so be it.
It's healing.
Oh,
No, I tell you, when you get to my age, it's kind of real. There's nothing else. What else would I live for?
It's
Really?
healing. It's very healing, actually.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just, because I remember I met you 3-4 years ago, and I was going through my own opening and things of that nature. However,
But you should talk about.
I will.
Yeah.
Now, this is the good thing. I don't know what it is that brings us together. Perhaps it's divine intervention, synchronicities. But I will say this to both of you. If it weren't for Deva and Miten, both of you, your music, the Gayatri Mantra, Om Bhur Bhurvasva Tatsavitu, I will see if I can remember it. All I can say is that when I became very sick, and the only thing that I had left was to sit, all I could do was meditate on the Gayatri Mantra that both of you would sing. And it took me somewhere. It opened me up in a way I have never been opened up before. I became a channel of energy. And it was that particular mantra that did it.
And your voice. Your voice.
It healed me in a way that nothing has ever healed me before. And here I am, I don't know, 15 years later, speaking to the individuals who sing this mantra.
And saved your life.
And literally saved my life when I had nothing else except to sit. It's miraculous. That's all I can say. It is.
Yeah. And we're on our second time around. And when we first met about 10 years ago, I was playing one of your albums. It wasn't even on my iPad or my iPhone, because we have it all digitally now, but it was an old-fashioned DVD. And it was probably our first year. And he said, you have that? I said, of course. Are you kidding? Of course I do. And it brought us closer together from that moment, this magical connection to the mantras. So it was something very magical and healing and opening about it. I mean, how do you explain that to people? Obviously you can be in an auditorium with 6,000 Russians, and they're not normally quiet people. And at the end, you said there's just silence. You could hear a pin drop. What do you think it is about the combination of the Sanskrit and the mantra that opens people spiritually and gives them that sense of peace and serenity?
I feel it's a combination of all of it. The biggest being the power of the Sanskrit language, the sounds, the Sanskrit sounds, not even language, because it's energy. Each syllable is an energy. And then something in the way that we are able to carry those sounds in the form of music, which it's a delicate thing, because you have to, with the music, you support those sounds rather than distract, or confuse. So somehow there's something mysterious going on. Let's just say
let's chant it for a moment.
Yeah, we would love that. What a treat that would be.
Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat.
Now we hear that.
Now we can hear it. Yeah, now we can hear it.
Wow.
You're making me cry.
That is amazing. It just takes me back again to sitting, meditating,
Wow.
and again, just connecting to everything, the all that is.
Yeah, that's really what it
And-
feels like. It feels like we're being expanded out into the universe and we're connecting to everything.
You know, by profession, I always tell people I'm a speech and language pathologist. So I studied lots of language and I help children with special needs. But the interesting thing about Sanskrit is that there are lots of nasalizations of the vowel sounds and the consonants. And there's a resonance that's created in the cranium and it just vibrates. And that occurs especially through the voice box, the larynx. With the music, there is this resonance field that just expands.
And it connects us.
Yes.
I feel
So
like, yeah, there's a connection.
That's, I think, part of the science of the Sanskrit and the mantras and this om, and you can feel it vibrating and it just takes you
Yeah,
and it's beautiful.
Out and
I know. It's a beautiful thing. You know what's great to be able to chant those mantras with a band.
Yes.
A real bunch of guys who know what they're doing there, and they know we're there to serve, and we're there to give people the possibility to trust that they can really chant and open their voices and open the voices, open the hearts open. You can't have one without the other. And there you go. Then once the heart is open, you have the trust to move into silence. And that's it. That's our journey, you know.
Once the heart, so you feel in some ways the mantra is unlocking almost like our heart chakra in a way so that we can surrender into trust. Is that what you're saying? Wow.
I mean, you also, on the other hand, you also can't sing when your heart isn't open. You actually cannot, you know. So it's kind of a certain good circle, you know. So when you, yeah, it's very difficult to sing when you're angry.
Yeah, but you know, it's also difficult to as a man. Many guys come to our concerts for the first time with their wives or girlfriends, you know, and they what? We have to sing. You know, we have to sing a mantra. Oh God, you know, but there's something so beautiful about men singing. Just a sense of sympathetic, empathic masculinity. it makes everybody feel safe. And when you have a theater full of men just chanting a mantra, wow. Can you imagine being a woman in there? You know, that kind of what I mean by woman or whatever you relate to, it's a sense of the feminine, the feminine, you know, and it's and that delicate feminine is being supported right now. It's there. The masculine is underneath. He's holding you. There's a strong masculine energy, and you can fly. And and they use the women can open their voices and sing hallelujah, you know, and oh man, you know, and so yeah, it's that's how it's been. I don't know if it's going to be like that ever again, you know, but we've had years of this kind of these journeys, and now yeah, I just, like you say, you feel that people are coming back. It looks like the ticket sales are good that we've heard, you know, people get the feeling that we want to be together again in these, you know, we've been in Europe for years before we came to America, you know, back in whenever it was for the first time. So we have really strong connections with people like Zurich, Munich, London, Paris, and we all, you know, there's just a big family of people like us, like you two guys, like me and Deva, just people who want to drink in the silence and drink in the moment, you know, and sing, you know, that's just so cool.
We'll be curious to see if more men start showing up, because I do feel you're right about that. You know, you said the divine feminine being supportive. I think it's being rebirthed. It's sort of this emergence of the divine feminine in all of us, regardless of what sexual orientation we, you know, call ourselves. And it's starting to explode and blossom and flower. And, you know, I think the divine masculine needs to be part of that journey.
Yeah, well, it can be, it is the part of it. It's like the yin and the yang. It's the part of it that supports that beautiful feminine energy that's so powerful and strong and it's and vulnerable. It's early days, you know, and it's just so beautiful that this whole thing is opening up, and it's really vulnerable. It's a vulnerable time. We have to be careful with each other. We have to make sure that when we connect, we know what's going on. We're clear, and then we're adults, and we can share beautifully. And I trust in our community that's going on. You know, people coming to church in a way. It's kind of like, you know,
modern church.
Kind of, in a way, yeah. Or pub singing.
Well, you're talking really about creating a sacred container, which you both do so beautifully. You know, I feel like, you know, when we were in your presence at a concert, it's as if you're taking care of us up there, right? So you're creating that sacred.
If I can say something quickly, where you speaking about Russia and why you have so many people there, perhaps, just maybe, they feel like they can become, especially men, they can become or allow the feminine to come out. They can allow their heart to open, but in a safe way, in a way that they're going to be supported.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think you're right. And I also think it doesn't necessarily happen just in Moscow. Right. Every audience we play to, it's not always easy for men to open their voices. But as soon as they do, wow. Wow, you know, and then yeah. Anyway, that's why we're going on the road. That's why we're going out.
But I mean, particularly in masculine places, right? More masculine places, right? So Anthony's Italian, if you can't tell, right? And so
I was wondering. Yeah.
yeah.
That was, I like your accent when you speak, when you said mantra, and I thought that's
Mantra. Yeah, io sono italiano.
oh, nice.
Italiano.
Did dove say?
The Nova York.
Oh, okay.
I genitori sono di Napoli.
Oh, okay.
Napoli.
Okay.
Napoli. Different accent, different.
Beautiful. We love Italy. We used to live there and spend so much time there. Just love it. Toscana.
Toscana.
I mean, it tends to be a country where men are okay to embrace more of the feminine, right? You know, they'll hold a woman's purse and it's okay. They'll wear pink cashmere sweaters and it's okay.
But I really do believe when you do sing and you open up the throat chakra and you open up that resonance, that it's resonating throughout all of the chakras, and the heart is just opening up more and more to the feminine. And you start to see the balance of masculine and feminine divinity coming into balance. Hopefully, you know, it's happening little by little, but it's definitely happening through the mantras, and through the chants and the singing. And I try to tell more men, listen, it's okay to do yoga. It's okay to chant the mantras. It's okay to open up your heart, because the feminine energy is so strong and men are so afraid of it because once it comes in, they don't know what to do with it. It makes them whole again. They become balanced. And
it comes with the responsibility. It comes with the responsibility to receive the feminine energy. You need a commitment to yourself to be able to stand in that and embrace that. Exactly.
That is true.
And
not
also,
run away from it, because it is powerful and it's scary too, you know, in a way. You look at the mama lion, you know, you don't want to mess with mama lion.
and also the larynx and the whole structure of our voice box, everything is a total mirror or replica of the female genitals, you know. So it's like we have, you know, we all have that in our.
I didn't think about it that way, but you are kind of correct.
Yeah.
The vocal cords, exactly.
Yeah. So that's when men sing, that's the organ they use, you know, it's the feminine organ they use. So it's very
yes, that's true.
That's an interesting perspective.
I never thought about it that way.
You know, it's funny because you had said earlier in our conversation about how it was destiny, and of course you were both meant to be together, and I feel that that's very true. And anyone who's watched you together just now, you know, just in this casual environment or on stage, it's as if you're supporting that divine feminine and masculine union in front of everybody. And when you do that, that vulnerability that you spoke about, it gives people permission to be vulnerable. I think it's a beautiful gift, really.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel most comfortable in my role of being able to create a space. You know, that's what I feel like. We create a space for everybody to come together, to be a facilitator, to make something happen that needs a certain magnet for it to come together, and we are okay to be that magnet. But actually, you know, the circle is empty in the middle. You know, when we come on stage, we feel like we complete the circle, and the center is empty. You know, we are just like and that's where I feel, you know, that's my comfort zone. You know, because I feel we all long for this, but we need somebody to get it together and hire the place and say, let's meet at that point. You know. So that's, yeah.
You said you're going to be doing 15 concerts in 30 days, which is a lot. So my question to you is, you're holding space for large amounts of people, and you're giving that energy, you're giving your energy to all of these individuals, and they give it back to you as well. But what do you do in the meantime? How do you re-energize? How do you focus again?
Yes.
Go out there night after night.
There is no edge. There's no edge. It's just a continual movement.
Mhm.
There's not one thing or another. It's just a continual movement of energy.
Circle of energy.
Well, it's a forward motion feeling. You're moving forward somehow in time, and but you're timeless. You're kind of that's why we called the new album Timeless, because it feels like there's no traveling. Do you know the Sufi whirling, the dervishes, when you whirl and whirl and whirl, suddenly you come to a point where the room is moving round, but your perception of reality is you're still, and the room is moving round. That's how it is on tour. You just you feel like you're in a silent thing, and you just move through. We have a team of people. We don't have to, everything is supported, so that when we meet the beloveds, we're all together. And that's our road crew, the sound, the lights, the mixer, the band, everybody's together, and we move together, so it's a lovely connection. It suits me. But this is the first time for since 2019 that we've gone out again. So it's going to be interesting.
I think it's going to be
amazing.
Old and new, not old in a bad way, but what's the word? We are accustomed to it. It's going to be like a really, comfortable piece of clothing you find yourself in again, and you know that this is so good. And on the other hand, it's going to be like, wow, because we were in Peru. We've only left this country once in these last 2.5 years, and that was in April to Peru. And it was the first time being in an airport again, and taxis and hotels, and it's all still there. We can still do it. That muscle is still the traveling muscle is still working, and but the actual coming together with people is priceless, and that's so precious, and that's no online thing really can replace that, because it's just so precious.
I think that you're exactly right. I mean, as human beings, we are social creatures, and we just love to be
connect
and touch with each other. You've been in that part of the country. ¿Ustedes hablan español ahora también?
Sí, un poco. Sí, estoy aprendiendo. Sí.
Todavía está aprendiendo. You're learning. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Qué bueno. I love language, because language is so much a part of the culture, a part of the food, a part of the way you think and the way you see individuals. And you start to understand people by the language they speak.
And adapt accordingly.
Yes. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that. I always used to think it's any culture who calls his children bambino, it must be a great language. It must be nice people. What a sweet name to call your kids a bambino, So then I realized that's it. I love the Italian people. That's it.
Well, in Spanish, in South America, it's niño, la niña, o el niño, los niños.
Yeah, but bambino takes it to another level.
Bambino, yeah.
When you were describing how you prepare to, be on the road and move, it almost sounded like Tai Chi to me. Like this flowing, just the flowing motion of movement. It's almost as if you're going with the flow, you're not resisting it, right? And you're just allowing the universe, right? That universal consciousness of all that is, to just allow yourself surrender into the work in a way.
Well, yeah, you're showing up, basically.
Mm.
You're showing up, and then existence does whatever it wants with you, but you're available for that. So, you know, us showing up is putting the tour together and going out into the crazy world of European politics and whatever else is going on there. We don't know. And to move into that is not something that we've taken lightly. We've considered it, and we feel like it's time. It feels like it's on the edge and it's time. Some part of me and Deva thrives on the sound of people singing.
Yeah.
It's like it's very much our tantric work, really. It's a sense of again this balance of energies when we are leading and the people are receiving, and then we become one in there. It's a tantric movement, and you know, so it nourishes us, and it doesn't have that horrible feeling of being exhausted and you're doing a job. You
Because
know,
you're filled up with the community. You're filled up with the love of the community.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Most musicians, they do it for the money. You got to have the money, you know. And when you take that away, you're into a whole different energy. It's something else that's happening.
Deva, what about you? Because you're singing so much. And I know a lot of times that singers will need vocal rest.
Remember, she doesn't see herself as a singer.
Okay. Well, you're using those vocal cords, and I know exactly what they look like. Of course, I told you I'm a speech language pathologist, but I know that a lot of people that use their voice a lot, they often need a lot of water. They need vocal rest.
He's laughing.
What is it that you're doing to give yourself vocal rest? Or is it you don't need it as much because you're in this flow of energy all the time?
I didn't know I needed it. So
maybe you don't. Maybe that's the key.
Yeah.
I believe that is the key.
She's plugging into the universe.
That's it. You're just plugging into this divine universe. The mantras themselves are literally feeding you. In fact, you probably do not need vocal rest because this is the way it works. And this is what you're teaching everybody. So I think it's amazing.
I remember once having laryngitis, the only time, luckily, that happened, where I lost my voice completely. For 3 weeks. I couldn't even speak. And we were on tour. So we were just, it started in America. I mean, it was like, it started at the beginning of the tour, this laryngitis started.
Yeah.
And we did concerts where we told people, you're welcome to leave and get your money back, or, you know, Miten's going to sing, we all sing together.
And Miten said that. You couldn't speak.
Yeah. And there were magical evenings. I was there kind of feeling like I was singing through everyone's mouth, you know, like I was, and then as part of this kind of situation, I went to some ear, nose, throat specialist in Hollywood who had all these stars on the wall. Michael Bolton and Whitney Houston, and I don't know, he was like treating these guys, and then he looked at my vocal cords and he said they look like an opera singer's vocal cords, and he said, and you're gonna, and I was 35 at the time. He said, you're gonna sing until you're 50. And I thought, that doesn't sound very much. I don't know, I'm like, now I'm 52. But anyway, it's nice. It was kind of felt like a nice little, you know.
I think he meant that you were going to
never see your vocal cords.
I think he meant you were going to sing until you were 72. Maybe. I am curious about the new albums that you that you have coming out. Do you think the albums have changed because you were inward for the last, couple of years? And if so, how has the music changed from what you've done before?
I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Can you
Put me on the spot. Put me on the spot. I mean, the big thing was for us to reconnect again in such a naked format of just singing together, because we've been traveling with Manos and with the band and singing with loads of people always. And so suddenly we were day after day just listening to our own voices again with nobody here. And so that's been beautiful. That has been such a beautiful discovery and reconnection of the rediscovery of just that quality of these two voices that somehow.
You know, when you
Did you just interrupt me?
No, I was just kind of painting a little bit, just to say that when you're in a band, of course, you know, you lose some connection. You know, if it's just two of us chanting together or with each other, there's a very strong connection, and it gets watered down the more musicians come in, and the more it opens up musically. So when we came here, we just had each other and the guitar, and it was magical to be singing together like that again. It's amazing.
And I was happy to finally find a singing teacher. So I've been having singing lessons, which is really very, very, very beautiful. After all this time, I never really had singing lessons, and I never found somebody who could, you know, like meet me where I like to, or pick me up where I like to go.
Yeah, and meet you where you're at. Yeah.
So that's been beautiful. So that's been, you know, like being here, we could learn new things, and music and singing one of them, and Spanish, tennis.
Important things. These are important things.
Does this mean that when you go out on the road that it will just be you two now singing?
No.
We're a big team.
Yeah.
There will be altogether. There's 15 of us on the road. It's to move, but it's a 6-piece band.
Yeah.
There's 4 musicians and me and David.
Like in Marin.
Yes.
And no.
So how has the music changed, though? I mean, I know that you had the reconnection and the intimacy, but how has the music changed as a result of that reconnection?
We don't know yet. We haven't played it yet.
Do you mean the album?
No,
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
it's the album.
Okay.
You know, the thing with the album is, you know, it's about our 24th album, something like that. So, you know, we come to a point where no album actually defines us. So we can basically just do what we like, and see, you know, there's no kind of a strategy or anything, and unless there is, and then of course we go with that. Like Jungle Sessions was like that. It began its life with the Gayatri Mantra again, your mantra, and we tried to do a 108 cycles with a groove, and so that people could dance to it. And we had the band, and we were trying to get this thing, but it takes 22 minutes. So to chant 108 times. So, you know, it got it got difficult, and we stopped. In the end, we stopped to do it. And then Deva did a duet with India Ari, and it's such a fantastic piece. And India wrote it, composed it, and Deva and India sing it, and it's a magical piece of music, and such a depth. India and Deva, like you know, two avatars really in their own field, coming together to chant one of Tibet's most beloved mantras.
Well said.
So it's beautiful. So that once that happened, then we started to look at pieces that we had, and Joby came here. Joby came down with his recording rig, and we just got to work and did what we had to do. And then Joby went back with the files and mixes it and adds what he needs to add and finishes it off.
And the Gayatri, that Gayatri version became a 54 cycle version, not 108. And it's a beautiful journey. It's really, a really beautiful journey.
It's beautiful, yeah.
We call it the Gayatri Mantra japa celebration because it's just a unfolding of the Gayatri japa.
Yeah, Jai Utal also is singing with us on
we love him.
And there's a mantra for dispelling epidemics, which was one of our mantras that we discovered in this time that of course it's very important. So there's 3 Tara mantras on there. It just happened. Taras for different energies, like the one with India is for climate balance. Tara.
We should send the guys their signals. I'll send you a link to one of the tracks.
Oh, that would be beautiful. That. Yeah, we'll play it over dinner. Every night. It's interesting, the morphing of bringing this together almost like a reunion. I wonder, right? Because I think there's no accident. I wonder in a way if that's not going to bring more people to your music. Like maybe it will open something up that your traditional followers, haven't experienced.
I think so. I think there's a whole load of people that have never seen us live, and we're just beginning to meet them. They come to Blue Spirit to be with groups here, and so yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going to be beautiful, as usual.
Yeah, I think that, this time in our history, right, everything's changing, and people who are doing spiritual work, whatever you want to call it, right, work of igniting consciousness, whether it's through their hands, their touch, through their music, through their writing, composing, whatever it happens to be. I think people are feeling big shifts right now. Don't you feel that?
I think so, yeah.
And I think that as you guys reemerge, right, I think, we would love to see it. And I know you will too, that suddenly you're going to have a whole new audience, right, that you didn't have before, in addition to everyone else who's always followed you. And I'm excited about that. Are there any other words that you would like to share with people before we close?
Just keep singing.
Yep.
Keep singing.
All right. Well, thank you.
And if you don't keep singing, start singing. If you haven't started yet.
Exactly. Right. I mean, there's back to the vulnerability, right? If you can do it, if Cher could do it, right? I mean, a lot of times we feel intimidated to do it. And I think, my friend Christine had this great moment where we were drumming over the house over the summer, and it was kind of a drum circle, and nobody were professional singers there except for one person, Katie. She's young, right? And she's a soprano and has this beautiful voice. And we're all kind of looking at her to kind of help us lead this mantra. And she was a little shy about it, and she had the best voice, or at least all of us felt she had the best voice. She's classically trained. And then my friend Christine came over to me and she said, once she realizes that she's not a singer and that actually the music is just moving and making its way through her and she's just the vessel, then she'll lose that self-confidence. And it was just this beautiful moment of like, wow, right? Wow. Yeah, it was just beautiful. So anyway, with that, belt it out, everyone, and don't be afraid.
Yeah, you don't have to be Pavarotti, you just have to feel it. That's it. Just give yourself up to it like anything. You give yourself up to it and you get carried away. That's it.
Yeah. It's not about how you sound. It's about the collective resonance of all of us singing together. Like you are so fortunate to be able to experience all the time with your community. And we're just honored to have had this time with you tonight and can't wait to follow the tour and follow all of your activities. And we'll be sharing it with others.
Thanks for
Beautiful to meet you
joining.
guys.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Have a beautiful evening.